This video is sponsored by Established Titles. There's going to be more on that later. Hey guys, guess what? I've got my Cabela's Bass Pro binoculars, my spy glasses out here, and I've been bird watching. And I think I can see an American dipper. Or is that a meadowlark? I'm not even sure. I think it's building a nest in the trees. Let's go check it out. Welcome back to the Pine Forest. I'm creating my house ball. As it turns out, I'm in a little friendly competition with Zach Fowler over at Fowler's Makery and Mischief, and he has challenged me to a build-off building a mini house ball, and I think that's pretty cool, but as it turns out, I may have misheard what he said. He actually said mini house boat build.
And then totally blasting mine out of the water, battleship style. I was like...
I gotta build a house boat. What am I gonna do with this giant ball? I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball on this one, because yeah, I haven't even started my mini house boat. I've got to get my mini house ball finished before I can even start my mini house boat build. I don't know, he's already gotten started on his mini house boat build, so you guys can go check a look at his page to see how he's doing on his mini house boat, and maybe, you know, you guys can leave some comments down below on what you guys think I should build for my mini house boat build. I guess I really dropped the ball on this one. I've got to finish my house ball. Maybe you guys can give me some ideas on what you'd like to see in a house boat. If you're just joining me, I'll just do a quick recap of what we've done so far. So we took some old wire spools, we cut them up, we used the circle that was left over, and we made a sphere by welding them all together. And then we added an equator, we added a door, and then we took the time and made a teepee out of some really big timbers, set it up, and then winched it up in the air and let it hang. That's where we are so far. So this is episode 2, where we're going to take this sphere and we're going to clad it with some of the world's finest cedar, the eastern white cedar. And we're going to close it in to make it a fully functioning cabin suspended in midair. Now, let's get started. You guys can see that's the growth rings. You can see how thin the growth rings are later on in life. You can see down near the middle where the tree first started, it was adding growth rings, very large growth rings, up until about this point. So the last inch, you probably have about 20 or 30 years crammed in that last inch. And then 50 or so years before that, which is crazy how slow it grows once it gets to a certain size. That's why they encourage you to plant new trees, is because the old ones don't grow as quickly. Well, Don and I are at the lumber store. What are you going to pick? You going to pick the straightest 2x4 out there in the forest?
Well, I think we already got the chosen one.
True, we have been looking around a little bit because we're practicing good forestry management techniques here. This is the cedar area of the forest, so there's a lot of cedar that grows here, and practicing good forest management technique, generally speaking, you would take a clump of 3 cedar trees and you would take out 2 of the 3 cedar trees. If the clump of 4, you generally take out 3 of those clump of 4 and you let the other one sort of thrive. They only get to a specific size because they just don't have that many nutrients to thrive, because they're so tightly close together, and they're also competing for sunshine and whatnot. So that's what we're doing right now, is we're trying to select something that is going to allow everything that is left over to prosper. So this guy over here, this is the old bat in this clump of trees. So I'm probably going to take this one down because I think it's going to be ideal wood for what I want to do with it. And it's surrounded by a number of little trees that will thrive having more light. So this is an ash tree. This is going to come down due to the emerald ash borer at some point. So my plan is to actually use this ash tree kind of as a slide, because I want to just slide down, pull it out, and not damage any other trees, because I have some budding maple trees up here. So this little guy here is a maple tree. As you can see, there's maple leaves on it, and I want it to prosper and grow. But it is shaded, so that's cedar. And then there's a big old, it's a tall cherry. This is a tall cherry tree sitting right here. And then we have some more maple. So the idea is to kind of, you thinning it out, you're adding more light to the forest floor, They're preventing forest fires. Younger trees tend to grow faster with more vigor and, you know, sequester more carbon if you're into that sort of thing. There is a lot of up and coming new stuff. This is an old forest and it has to be thinned out. And I want it to be straight grained and all that sort of stuff. So this is Eastern White Cedar. I'm gonna knock it down and hopefully it'll go smoothly and we get it up to the mill and make our exterior cladding on our sphere. You're a little sore from yesterday. Yesterday we actually did firewood all day. My arms feel a little bit longer today. My legs feel a little bit shorter.
That's right.
This should go well. Figure while I'm down this way I might as well feed the fish just to see. You can see the water clarity seems to be pretty good. And then we got some fish food. Watch. They're hungry little buggers. Was that a backflip? I give those guys a second helping. They seem to be very hungry. They seem to be very active. I think the water's cooling down and they're becoming more and more active. So now is the time. You can see them right there. Now is the time to fatten them up because we're gonna let this thing freeze solid for skating in the wintertime. You guys need fish. Linden's Fish Hatchery is where we got these trout. They're very hardy fish. So, like acrobatic trout. I'm really excited to talk to you about today's sponsors. It's Established Titles. In its historic Scottish custom to grant landowners in Scotland the title of Lord, Laird, or Lady in English. What I've done is I've secretly bought a square foot of land for Dawn. I've got the official proclamation right here, and this is it certifies that Dawn is a owner of a plot of land. It makes him Lord Dawn. So Dawn doesn't know what this thing is. Here, Dawn, you get to read it. What do you think that is? It's a gift for your hard effort. What I think is also really cool is Dawn could possibly change his name to Lord Dawn on his dating profiles or even his plane tickets or even a credit card. That's a nice ring to it. Lord Dawn. I think he's going to be so excited for this. What's also great about Established Titles is they plant a tree for every order with global charities called One Tree Planted or Trees for the Future. It is a great effort for reforestation of the planet. And I think you guys also might be interested is that the first 200 orders of Established Titles, you could be Dawn's neighbor. You guys have always wanted to be neighbors with Dawn. Now you got the chance. So if you use my link, you can get a plot of land next to Dawn in Scotland. That's pretty cool. 200 people, the first 200 people that order. It's a really cool title. We could be neighbors. We could have like Modern Self-Reliance Kingdom in Edelston, Scotland. Established Titles makes a really great last minute gift. Check them out right now. You can use my coupon code Modern Self-Reliance. You get an additional 10% off. It's kind of like an early Black Friday sale. You'll check the link in the description below. Again, use the coupon code Modern Self-Reliance. So establishedtitles.com/Modern Self-Reliance, and you can get yourself your very own plot of land. So Dawn doesn't know what this thing is. Here, Dawn, you get to read it. What do you think that is? It's a gift for your hard efforts.
Oh, wow. A proclamation. Whereas Lord Dawn, hereafter referred to as the Lord, having by way of petition delivered unto us the intention to purchase and us with the intention to accept. Established Titles has agreed with the Lord this day for the sale of the plot of land of 1 square foot, in particular the plot of land identified and described with. There's a plot number and the date, and on behalf of the title, Established Titles, signatures.
So you think you could build a cabin 1 square foot?
Wouldn't take long.
That's awesome. So there's the plot number. Actually, I don't know if so people, the first 200 people can be your neighbors.
So is this in Wales? Is that the?
No, that's Edelston, Scotland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So I've got a square foot of land, and
you can now change your dating profiles, your credit cards, and your
to
Lord Dawn.
To being a lord. Wow.
Lord Dawn.
I would have never guessed in 1,000
Isn't that cool?
years. That is cool. Yes.
That's like the guy that has everything. That's
and now I have a square foot of land in Scotland.
Anytime you can clean your logs of the debris and the sand that accumulated on the log when you were skidding it up, it makes your blade last significantly longer. Cedar tends to have a lot of sand in it already, so your blades don't have a lot of life milling cedar, because I think they suck up the sand when they grow. But there was a significant amount of sand sitting on the side. I ended up using it's a Woodsman Pal. It's got a tapered edge on the one side so it doesn't dig in, and it seems to be working really well to get the actual bark off the one side where the majority of the sand was. You can't get all the sand off, but once that's off, then we can start milling it. Hopefully our blade lasts a really long time. Well, that was a successful trip to the lumber store. We got ourselves a couple of white ash trees that we're gonna mill up. We're just dragging them over to the mill, and we're gonna mill them into some really thin slices because we need them to bend. Hey Don, it's your favorite stuff to work with.
Look, I've already got done.
How did you?
Already got done an old t-shirt.
Oh, okay. How did you? You always seem to get construction these. It doesn't matter what we're doing. You get it on you. You got the gloves
course,
now,
yeah.
right?
But I'll by the end of the day, I'll have some on me.
Like on your
somewhere.
face?
Yeah, I'll have my eyelids glued shut or something.
We'll check back. We got some construction adhesive, the PL stuff, and we're going to glue it onto the steel. All right, now that we got all our wood sorted out, we can start cladding our sphere. So it's really hard to attach wood to steel. So what I'm gonna do is, Don's gonna give me a hand. He's here with, we got some 5/8 plywood we ripped up on the table saw. And what the plan is to use some Tech screws, screw it to the frame of the sphere and glue it at the same time. And that gives us a good nailing edge because we have to do cedar around the entire, we're gonna start at the equator of the sphere to do the cedar, but first we have to get the longitudinal lines.
That's right. Yes.
Longitudinal, are they what's latitudinal?
That's the equator.
That's the equator, the latitudinal line. The latitudinal line is how we're going to run our cedar in the longitudinal. The longitudinal lines is how we're going to run our plywood, and then we'll run our cedar perpendicular to that. Wow. Geography lessons. It's crazy. Let's get started. We had a sort of a rain delay today, and it's just sort of dried up now. So we've got our sphere all dried up. We've actually lowered it to the ground so we can actually work on it a little easier, which is really convenient. So we've got the come along up top there. We've lowered it to nice working height. That'll actually be a godsend, because if anybody's ever worked in the air, they know it's not easy. If you can move your stuff down lower, that's ideal. I guess I'm not quite used to this new world material. This is quite stark comparison between the old plywood and the new plywood. I had a couple of pieces left over, like a 2 foot by 8 foot chunk of old plywood, and this is again, it's construction grade 5/8 square edge board, good no sides, and this is old plywood, and you can see it made the radius no problem, didn't buckle, nothing. And then the new plywood that I bought the other day, it broke here, it broke here, it broke here. Oh, that's the joint. So, and it kind of repeated itself everywhere. Kind of why did that delaminate and explode? I don't know. It happened again over here. It's not super critical because this is a nailing edge, but it just goes to show you that I think we're going the wrong way. I took the time to grab my angle grinder and flatten out all of the spots that were sitting a little bit proud, because whenever you're bending something around something else, you always kind of want no sharp edges, because that's when it tends to break. Now all we got to do is find out, will it bend? Now we got it all milled up. How many square feet do we need? You know the equation on that? What was it like?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't remember it either. It was like pi r squared sphere half of double or something. Anyways, we got a lot of cedar milled up. It's 1/2 inch by 3 inch. It is fresh cedar, meaning it is green. We're gonna put it on. Hopefully it bends and doesn't break like our plywood does, or there'll be a lot of swearing in the forest with Kevin. The plan is to bridge one of the spokes. So we go from one spoke, skip over the other spoke, and then have it screwed or stapled. We're actually going to staple it to the third spoke, and then we're going to run our seams along there. And that's hopefully going to give us a nice uniform ball-like sphere, because I want it to look as much like a ball as possible. And then I've got some other plans for the seams and some waterproofing techniques. So that's our, oh yeah, our waterproofing techniques. I'm glad I talked to you guys. You guys just reminded me. I got to put strips of waterproofing on this stuff before I do that. So I'm going to do that now, and you guys can see it right now. Got my waterproofing all on, and my theory is that when the water hits this and the screws or nails or staples that we're going to put in here are going to seal around the wood and then prevent this from actually getting wet. And then once it gets to here, I'm not really worried about it because water would have to flow uphill, and the whole thing's going to be clad with cedar, which is naturally water repellent, so I don't think I'll get any water in. But I'm also going to waterproof it from the inside afterwards with another product. But I have to get my cladding on first. So let's get some cedar, see if we can bend it up. I'm hopeful it's going to bend easy. Well, we've run into a little bit of a situation, and I'm not exactly sure how to solve it. Maybe you guys can figure this out for me. So we tried to go from the equator horizontally, and what's happening is you can see we're getting it straight up and down. We keep stacking it on each other. But then if I look over here, we spin this guy around. We did like the au natural and just kind of let it flow to where it wants to go. And it seems like I got literally one screw on one side, one screw on the other, and it's kind of like naturally gone around that. And I don't know if at some point we're gonna get to a spot where it doesn't want to bend. I'm not sure. I kind of like the natural swirl, but I'm not sure if it's gonna, if we get like 4 rows in and then we can't bend it anymore. Maybe we'll go the natural and see if it how far we can get. Well, Don, have we figured out what the heck we're doing yet?
It's looking pretty good.
It's getting there. I think what our plan, what our technique now is to go 5 rows at 3" and then change direction. So we're always kind of going around the center of the ball. Because if we go beyond 5, what happens is it starts to it starts to stack on top of each other, and it doesn't twist. I don't know. This is my first time building the ball. Is this your first time building the ball?
It certainly is.
It's very, yeah. We're coming around the corner, I hope. So yeah, it's kind of like a mishmash sort of, I don't know, what would you call that? Is there a word for that? Like origami?
Almost like wrapping a ball of yarn.
Ball of yarn, yeah, it's like wrapping a ball of yarn. You always kind of keep changing direction so you don't get like a big puffy spot on the one side. So how do you feel about that cool? Is it cool?
It is cool today, but
you got your cool on.
I've got my cool on.
Yeah.
It's working really well.
It's stopping the wind, right?
It does, yeah. Yeah, it's very comfortable. It's soft.
Yeah.
And,
it hasn't rained on it yet, so we don't know how waterproof it is, but like it's
got the pants.
Looking schlick. I'm also wearing the cool stuff. I've got the hat, the hoodie, and the pants. And what I like about the pants especially is that they tuck over top of my shoe so I don't get any sawdust in my shoe. How's that for bending? We made pretty good progress yesterday, slept on it overnight, and I think we're on the right track to get it all done. This is our kind of our secret weapon, and this is really bendable plywood. It's actually, that's what it's designed to do, is bend plywood. And we're using it as a scab piece when we don't end up on one of the ribs, because if we had to wait until we got to a rib, we'd waste a lot of material. So we're just scabbing the flexible plywood wherever we need to kind of carry on. I think what it's going to look like at the end of the day is a big ball of yarn, which is really cool. As you guys can see, it's coming along. We just got to kind of just trudge through it and kind of work our way at it. Don't stop and just keep working at it, because that's how you finish those monotonous tasks. And to be quite honest with you, I don't mind those tasks. I, in a former life, used to do a lot of repetitive tasks when building, you know, really intricate stuff, and this is kind of right up that alley, so I don't mind it. Don, are you on the same page?
Sure.
Let's get this on there. Just going to quickly demonstrate what I'm doing here, and this is traditionally what happens in wallpaper hanging, is you do a double cut. Now, right now I'm not going to do a double cut, I'm going to do a single cut, but I'm using the back board to line up my front board, because otherwise kind of lining up anything on a round sphere is hard. So I've made these long and they just kind of carry on past. I'm going to use a straight edge and I kind of look through the board and see the piece behind, and I mark it like that, and that gives me an idea of where I want to cut it. Now, where it takes a little bit of skill is you're going to use a skill saw. I guess you could use a hand saw. And then you're going to cut through, but not cut all the way through and hit the metal. And you can see the cut there. And then what I have to do now is just cinch in the boards, and you'll have it tight against the thing. You tuck that right in. I gotta give it a little more cut. There you go. Now repeat the process a couple hundred times. The old woolly bear caterpillar, you can tell how bad the winter's gonna be based on how long its fur is. If you can tell how long that guy's fur is. Just give you guys a little bit of an update. We're really coming around on this thing. We have got, I don't even know how to tell how much is left to do, because it's a round. I don't know what percentage. What percentage would you say? It's like a pie chart, but it's round. 75%. The problem is the 5 bands of the long stuff went really quick, and then the little infills, it requires a cut, like a custom cut on both sides. So we're running into a little bit of a, you know, methodical sort of time thing. It's just taking a lot of time to do the infills. And you guys are probably thinking, why didn't you just keep going with the long ones? Well, as I was telling you guys, you can only go 5 bands before it changes the actual, the 5th band tends to stand up straight. So we have to go on an angle, like Don just fitting there. So we got the straight bands, and then we're alternating directions on the infills in order to kind of give it a little bit of style. But it is a long go. It's been a long journey, but we're making it. We're getting there. We even actually started earlier, and we actually worked late in order to get a lot of this done. So we're just gonna keep plugging away, and hopefully we can show you the final product before the end of this video, at least.
Getting the ladder, am I?
No.
Okay.
How much more do we want to roll it?
Actually, that's a nice working height, I think.
Okay. As the world turns, these are the days of our lives. How long did that take us?
That section?
Yeah.
Actually, that was our fastest one
It
yet.
was like an hour and a half.
About an hour, I think.
An hour and 10, an hour and 20.
Yeah,
That's
something like that.
not bad. So if we do the math on now, we got about
2 more days.
2 more. Yeah. All right, well, come on in, guys. Coming into the ball. It'll be a lot easier to get into this thing once it's upright. The door currently is on the bottom side. It's going to be sitting a little bit more horizontal when everything's said and done. We just got it rolled so we can work on the little slices a little bit easier. As you can see, there's a little bit left to do. And by little, I mean quite a bit. This is the time-consuming part of any job. Most of the jobs, you know, you get it going and you get it started and you're like, oh my God, look how much progress we're making. And then the 10%. The 10% is what gets most people in trouble, is that they either like get the satisfaction from the 90% and then they leave the 10% and they just go, I'm done, and never get anything done. So I'm the guy that gets, I like to get everything done, because it kind of, I'm a very linear dude. So I always like to get ahead of the build and kind of think past my nose when it comes to stuff like this. I was thinking about what to do for waterproofing and then making it a little bit more solid. And I was on Princess Auto's website the other day, and they've got fiberglass resin. And I was thinking of maybe coating the upper sphere, the upper hemisphere of my globe with fiberglass resin to kind of waterproof it and make it really solid, like a really hard shell. But I'm not certain of that yet due to the kind of confined spaces of the ball. I don't know if I want to be huffing fiberglass resin for that long, but that's currently on the cards. Or I have a plastic tarp that I could inlay into the slices, and then I've got some really heavy duty silicone that I can butter up all the edges and then maybe like spray adhesive it to the thing. Because I'm not really worried about the cladding, I'm just worried about the water getting inside the sphere and kind of dripping down. So that's what I'm dealing with. I don't know if you guys want to weigh in on that and maybe leave your suggestions down below to maybe you guys have an input on how to waterproof a ball. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, why didn't you waterproof it from the outside? Well, there's a couple of reasons why I didn't do that, and it's because I'd be poking a billion holes in the thing by putting the cladding on. Now, there is self-healing membranes like Blueskin. That sort of stuff is an exterior grade product, and if I put it on the roof, I'm kind of making it interior grade product because I'm not sealing it. I'll let you guys weigh in on that, and in the meantime, I'm going to button up my holes because that's the first step in kind of closing the space and making it whole.
So this is near the North Pole, and I'm having to fill in these little areas here, but it's becoming, well, it's not that it's becoming an issue, it's time consuming. So what I have to do is actually take little pieces of flexible plywood and splice them in, and that allows me to kind of bridge the gap. So this little guy here is going to go in this location. So what I'm having to do is cut and fit every single little piece like this. Like this. And what I'm doing is I'm actually screwing them in lightly, and then I'm taking a shim and putting it under here to give me the curve that I need in order to maintain the sphere. Because otherwise it'll look blocky and square, and I don't want that. I want it to be round. What are you making?
We're gonna have some Pillsbury cinnamon buns to go with it.
Nice, and you've looked at this recipe, and the method we're cooking it is on a cast iron frying pan?
Yes, I looked briefly online for a second and seen that other people do it and figure we can make it work.
We should try it, right?
Yes.
So like we got our cast iron cooking. Let's preheat it.
Ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Exciting!
That wasn't that exciting. No sizzle. What do you think, Bean? How did you get a coffee so soon?
I brought it with me from home.
Oh yeah.
It's a satisfying
Mine's
sound.
my way refreshing. Is it freshing? It's more fresh. Mine is more freshing. What'd you make over here, buddy?
It's fire.
It's a fire?
Yeah, I tried making it, but it's my my little buddy Evie.
Yeah.
He's involved.
He's evolved?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an evolved Pokemon?
Yeah.
Nice. Is Frankie helping?
I think the pan was kind of not centered, and these ones got a little burnt.
Cast iron isn't your friend?
No.
You put enough icing on anything, it'll taste delicious. What do you think?
Yeah, we are camping.
Camping? Yes. Don, you got any words of wisdom? How are we managing to do this? Are we going okay on this thing, or?
I think we're making good progress.
Yeah,
We seem to have a technique down now, near the end.
we're learning a lot. Yes, near the end of the cladding of the ball, we're getting to the point where we're experts. So next time we build a ball, which is going to be never, at this rate, we'll know how to do it. It's always the first one that's hard.
Are you concerned about the quality of the cinnamon bun?
You have to wait.
Too hot? It's too hot?
Yeah, I just burned my finger a
Too
little.
hot.
Yeah.
Can you smell that, Dawn? It
Smells delicious.
Doesn't it smell delicious?
Smells like
Like,
fall fair.
doesn't it? Here you go. Here's your
Thank you.
custom-made charcuterie board with your cinnamon bun. It might be made of lava.
Take a tiny
Try it.
just cooked.
Is it cooked? Is it good? You're eating the icing. Well, they're good. They're cooked, I think.
It tastes like a marshmallow.
I'm gonna choke on my cinnamon bun. We're gonna enjoy our treat and get back to work because this thing isn't gonna shoot itself. All right, so we're making some pretty good progress on our ball, and I figured I'd come down and show you guys a little bit about the houseboat build. So here is my boat. I don't know what exactly size Zach's boat is, but I think I might have him beat on the size. I might have the world's smallest houseboat when I'm done mine. This is what I've got to build on. Now, as you can see, it is pretty tiny. You guys have to check out Zach's boat to see which one's tinier. We'll probably do a measurement at the end of the day to determine square footage wise, but this is sort of my blank canvas to build the mini houseboat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually throw it out there. I am going to challenge Zach Fowler over at Zach's Makery and Mischief on a mini house ball build. I've already started my mini house ball, so you're behind the ball now on that challenge, and I am going to get started once I get my ball build on the mini house boat, and we can really see who wins this challenge. All right, we're at the final countdown. We got well, it's actually 2 little slivers left, and I finally figured out the optimal way to do it. I've got a fancy tool. I don't know if I've ever introduced you to this tool here. This is, I guess the brand or the Kleenex version of this is called the Fiend tool. This happens to be a Mastercraft version of it from Canadian Tire. And what it does is it's like a little oscillating tool. I call it like the dental tool in the construction industry. And what I'm using it for is what I'm doing is actually placing the piece of wood on the ball and then using this to strategically precisely cut it to fit. It gives me my angle and it gives you my size all at once. It's sort of been a game changer on speeding up the whole process, other than this isn't gone very fast at all. Leads me to another thing. You ever heard the saying balls to the wall? It's interesting to think, where do those things come from? And so I looked it up, and as it turns out, back during the Vietnam War, the fighter jets had a ball on the top of the joysticks to control it. I don't know, I've never driven a fighter jet before, but as it turns out, balls to the wall means full throttle in aviation terms, and it's kind of like, you know, pedal to the metal sort of thing in automotive terms. That's my fun fact for the day. Let's go balls to the wall, boys. Get this thing done. And girls. Another fun fact, I only screwed my finger once. I got my pinky finger the other day, and I pinched my finger. It hurt. But it's healing up. I probably should have got a stitch. I kind of got the tip of it, and it kind of, yeah. There was a lot of swearing in the woods with Kevin. I've got my fire extinguisher here. I've got my welder, because I forgot to attach a piece of metal to the door to screw my wood to. Test it. So this is 2.5 gallons of water in a pressurized container, and hopefully I don't need to use it, but if the welder decides to set my ball on fire, I have a contingency plan. I'm going to hook up my welder to my EcoFlow Delta Pro, and hopefully that'll power it in order to tack on some strips around the door in order for the wood to actually have something to attach to. Otherwise it's just a kind of a door with nothing to attach to, just little pieces of metal. Figured I'd get it all ready. First I got to cut all these guys down so I can actually see what I'm working with and make sure the door works. But well, that opens up a whole new world of possibility. I'm just checking 93%. I started at 96%. I used 3% battery power on the EcoFlow Delta Pro to weld up or just tack all of these metal strips to the side of my door, which is crazy. I didn't realize that I could actually do that. Turns out it works really, really well. So now I can attach my cedar all the way around my my edge, because that's going to be my my flange. I don't want to have it proud or sitting in front of it, because I want to have a door jamb here. So I want to have the wood inlay inside the door. So when you look at the door, all you see is a door with cedar inlay. Burning the old midnight oil last night, I ended up getting a couple more cross braces to ensure my curve goes all the way around. So I welded those guys in place, and they'll help support the curve. In order to fit my door, I ended up using more of my cedar, but instead of putting it on top of the steel structure, I actually inlaid it inside of the structure. Now, I took each piece and I used self-tapping screws to screw in around the perimeter of the door, being careful not to split the wood. So what I would do is actually screw it in and then back it off and then screw it in again. And that provided a pilot hole before finally securing the piece of cedar in place. And then I worked my way down the door, securing each board as I went in order to maintain my bend. And when I'm done, I got a pretty cool looking door. Well, all we got left for the outside is the little crown hole. The crown hole is gonna go through the chain. It's gonna go up inside there. And look at that, fits pretty good. And cedar tends to expand and contract with the rain. So what's great about the exterior of this thing is it's going to swell up when it gets wet and add a little bit of weatherproofing just by nature itself. That's pretty cool. Oh, it looks like a game of Plinko. Oh, a little bit of work in here. Gotta grind all my screws off. Well, if you guys got any suggestions on how to finish the inside of this thing, drop a comment down below. I've got a couple ideas myself, but maybe you guys got a better idea. Well, guys, I think that's a pretty well-rounded episode. We got a lot of the exterior done. We just got a little bit of around the door to finish up, but I think we're running out of time. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and join me on the next time when we get around to finishing the inside of the sphere.